With Halo Infinite being delayed at this point in time, guys, to 2021, I wanted to talk about all of the things that we know at this point in time about the title. We're sure going to be finding out more things as we get closer to the official release date. But with that, guys, I wanted to talk about everything that we know now about Halo Infinite. We can kind of give our opinions, and I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, written by Wes Fenlon and Fraser Brown of PC Gamer, everything we know about Halo Infinite, which is Halo 6 is officially Halo Infinite. It's coming to PC. Despite ditching the number, Halo Infinite is the next step in Master Chief's story and the conclusion of 343's new trilogy. It's been confirmed for both Windows 10 and Xbox as Halo the Master Chief Collection continues to roll out on PC in 2020. Microsoft followed up our first brief look at Halo Infinite E3 2018 with a longer trailer the following year and a gameplay reveal in the summer of 2020. Now, what is the Halo Infinite release date? Halo Infinite will release sometime in 2021. It was originally planned as a launch title for the Xbox Series X with a launch window during the 2020 holidays. Since then, 343 Industries have announced a delay to next year to ensure the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that meets our vision. And so I think a lot of it has to do with, guys, the delay at least, has to do a lot with the simple fact of the matter that there was a lot of backlash based around the graphics and especially like the character graphics, some of the environmental graphics from what we saw this summer at the Xbox Game Showcase. And I think with good reason. I mean, to me, guys, obviously the graphics, to me, there were certain elements of it that did look really good in my opinion. Other things, not so much. Like the character graphics I didn't like. I did not like, it didn't seem like there was much variety of new characters, like enemies and such. It didn't seem like it was the same. It was like, grunts and jackals and brutes. It was all basically the same. It's not, they didn't look like they've evolved much. Like when I think of evolution of like an Xbox game, like exclusive, I think about Gears of War. Gears of War has consistently added new enemies to go up against, even new characters that are, side characters and such that are, new cogs, and then of course like new enemies. And so overall, Gears of War's done a really good job with that. Halo, for some reason, has not really added much to their lineup of enemies. Now, maybe we're kind of, from the outside looking in, guys, obviously we're not going to know until the full game is out. I like certain things, certainly about Halo Infinite. I'm excited about the title, but I think that it was smart for them to delay the release, even though it's going to hurt Xbox a lot, in my opinion. So some of the fast facts about Halo Infinite: Forge mode is back. Is there a Halo ring? Absolutely. Microtransactions, maybe, but no loot boxes. Battle Royale mode. 343 Industries has said it isn't planning one. Now, I don't know if that's 100% confirmed or not. There's been a lot of talk in the community that Battle Royale will be in Halo Infinite, which I think would be actually pretty cool. Having a BR mode that, they can incorporate Forge mode into the BR would be something really special. How they could maybe do something like that. The microtransactions, guys, I think we can all expect that they're going to have some form or another of microtransactions. But yeah, obviously, I don't think the loot boxes are going to be something that ends up happening. But we, as far as the gameplay for Halo Infinite, we got our first look at Halo Infinite in action in a gameplay reveal during Microsoft's Xbox Game Showcase for July 2020. There's quite a bit to catch there, from the banished Brute factions to the new grappling hook to the more open world looking objective map for Infinite. And what I'll say, guys, is the grappling hook, a lot of people don't like that. I think that's an interesting concept, and we'll have to see how that really plays out once we kind of get our hands on it. As far as the open world, I'm really excited about that. Even though I was really skeptical about Gears of War going to a semi-open world when it's normally just a linear experience, Halo being a linear experience to now a full open world, it seems, or at least a semi-open world, I feel a lot better about it now after Gears 5 came out with that semi-open world feel. It really helps you connect more with the environments and kind of traverse where we've had a bunch of Halo games in the past, and they all have this linear experience, so this will be a nice change, I think. As far as Halo Infinite's release was almost split into campaign and multiplayer. In a recent interview on the Animal Talking talk show, Xbox boss Phil Spencer explained that Halo Infinite's release was almost split into 2 dates, one for the campaign and one for multiplayer. He said that ultimately a divided release didn't feel to all of us like the Halo release that we would want. Instead of the split, Microsoft decided to delay the game into 2021, news that hit fans hard considering Infinite was poised to be the marquee launch game of the Xbox Series X. Now, what I'll say about that, guys, is another huge thing for Halo, and this could be really big, is that the multiplayer they're talking is going to be free to play. So I think that they're going to get a lot of people, at least initially, to try the game out, and I think that's going to be great for Halo. Having free-to-play elements, guys, more and more is happening in a lot of these games, especially big AAA titles, and so I think that's a really smart move here to have at least some form of free-to-play, and having multiplayer do that, it could really help Halo in a major way. Now, Halo Infinite has a more open world. As seen in the gameplay reveal, Halo Infinite will have a more open world than past Halo games. The section we got a look at was several hours into the game, at which point it sounds like Master Chief can tackle various objectives, though 343 says there's still definitely a linear story to follow. What you saw in the demo that we showed, you have this map. There's this huge open section of the ring. As you get to that point in the game, this is several hours in the campaign. Then you have the ability to traverse that whole area and explore where you want to go on the ring, studio head Chris Lee told IGN. And so that's a really interesting ordeal, guys, is that, obviously, it seems like it's going to be one of those things like, here's your objective, but here's a number of other things that you can do before going to the objective or, between missions or something. I really like that concept. It's really cool. One thing I don't like, guys, is when they force you to do those side missions in order to get to the next objective or the next main mission. Similar to games like what Ubisoft has done with like some of the Assassin's Creed titles, the more recent ones, and even Far Cry 5. I don't like where it feels like you have to do side missions and things of that nature in order to move on in the main story, because it kind of takes you out of the main story, especially when you're starting to get invested in it. I love doing the side missions, though, at my own pace, and so I hope they do that here with Halo Infinite. Now, like we already said, guys, Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play. Halo is for everyone. We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 frames per second on Xbox Series X. More details will be shared later. That's huge news, with more and more of the most popular multiplayer games going free to play. Making Halo Infinite's multiplayer free from the get-go is a very savvy move from Xbox. Of course, any member of the increasingly great Game Pass service will get the full game anyway, which is really great as well. Xbox Game Pass, best service in all of gaming, and it's not even close. Will Master Chief be the star of Halo Infinite? Another yes, of course, guys. We don't know much about the story, but yes, Master Chief is the protagonist. Halo Infinite is set after the events of Halo 5. Is the next chapter in the Big Green Soldiers saga. Now, what I'll say about this, guys, is that I think I think 343, they learned what they did right, what they did wrong, and what they could do better from Halo 5 to now. And having Master Chief as the focal point, I think, is a really good move. My question, though, is this the last go-around for Master Chief? Is he going to pass the torch on to another character at some point or another? There's been talk that this is going to be, this Halo game, Halo Infinite, they're planning on making this the title for the next, 10 years of Halo, not necessarily planning on making other, Halo games in between that. So that's kind of an interesting, something interesting that they're planning on just servicing this game consistently. Maybe they don't want to move on from Master Chief anytime soon. I wonder if this is going to be the conclusion of Master Chief's story, though. That will be interesting. The end of Halo 5 seemingly sets up a rampant Cortana as the villain of this next game, and years ago, 343 talked about Halo 4 as the start of a new Reclaimer trilogy that will presumably cover Halo Infinite. The story of Halo Wars 2 will also have some impact on the events of Halo Infinite, though it's unknown if there will be any real character crossover between the two. Halo 5's legendary ending also gives away that another Halo Ring installation will come into play next time around. And then, of course, the Banished are back as Halo Infinite's enemies. Our first hint at the Banished came in a transmission video published by 343 Industries. Includes an audio message from the rebellious faction of Brute Mercenaries from Halo Wars 2. And obviously there was a transcript, a message and such. But what about Cortana, though? Twitter user Expel noticed something from the E3 2019 trailer, a series of red flashes in Master Chief's visor that, when spliced together, form a QR code. The code led them to this audio clip. At the end of the clip, we hear Cortana say, this is part of me. I don't know why, I don't know how, but it is me. Rogue Cortana may yet play into the plot, though that may be a reveal 343 are looking to save for launch. And then Halo Infinite is the platform for the next 10 years of Halo, like I had already mentioned, guys. We want Infinite to grow over time versus going to those numbered titles and having all that segmentation that we had before. Halo Infinite studio head Chris Lee said in an interview with IGN. It's really about creating Halo Infinite as the start of the next gen, the next 10 years for Halo, and then building that as we go with our fans and community. Now look, there's pros and cons to this. The pros are, guys, is that, yeah, you get this Halo title, and then this is going to be the title for the next 10 years. Things obviously are subject to change, though. I mean, we've seen this in tons of different games that say, oh yeah, 10-year plan, and then ends up being like a 3-5-year plan. I'm hoping they can stick to it, but from just looking at, you know, the backlash that came from the Halo Infinite reveal, I've got to say, guys, that I wouldn't be surprised if this is more of a 5-year plan and then they make another Halo game. I think a lot of it depends on, you know, the types of money that it's churning out, from, you know, Xbox Game Pass to the microtransactions in the game to how many people are playing the multiplayer experience. You know, obviously them delaying the game is a good thing because you want this to be a finalized, polished product. But also, you know, that kind of leads us to think that maybe, just maybe, they are going to, you know, there's going to be problems even at launch. And so I don't know if the 10-year plan is, you know, don't take that with a pinch of salt. Let's put it that way. And as far as, you know, some of the new weapons that are in Halo, guys, we have the Ravager, which is a banished 3-round burst energy weapon that runs on plasma fuel. The Mangler is a banished pistol with giant kinetic projectiles that fires more slowly than the UNSC pistol, but deals more damage. Then the Bulldog, the new UNSC riot shotgun that replaces the classic shotgun. And then the Commando, this UNSC rifle can go full auto and is good for mid-long range. And then you got the Pulse Carbine, a familiar but not quite identical version of the classic Covenant carbine weapon. What I will say, guys, is earlier when I said that I didn't like that there was no variety in characters, really, as far as like from the Covenant perspective. You know, something that we do need to mention is that they do have new weapons, and that's something that Halo does do. They do different weapons, but the enemies, there's not very much enemy changes or add-ons and such, which is really unfortunate. But I'm excited about the new weapons, at least what we've seen so far. That leads me to think that there's going to be other weapons that come into the fray along the journey. And so, as far as the Halo Infinite multiplayer, guys, obviously Halo Infinite will feature multiplayer, but specifics remain sparse. There will be local 4-player split-screen multiplayer, a recent stream confirmed, as well as Spartan customization based on Halo Reach. Apparently, what it won't have, 343 insists, is a Battle Royale mode. I'll tell you right now, the only BR we're really interested in is Battle Rifle. 343 Industries lead writer Jeff Easterling said in response to a question about the mode's possible inclusion, the original BR, so calm yourself, but who knows what could happen. Fortnite's pretty influential. More recently, 343 head Bonnie Ross gave a broader answer. Whatever we do needs to be the right thing for Halo. Whether or not you call it a Battle Royale or how we're thinking about things going forward, the team thinks about this needs to be right for Halo. So that's not a definite no. It seems like Infinite won't be blindly following the trend, but could eventually put its own spin on a last man standing mode. And that's certainly something that I could totally see at some point. I just think that for Halo, at least, being like the ODST, you know, you kind of drop down, and you know, I could totally see BR being something really awesome, especially if you can traverse the world by using Forge mode in the BR. I think that could be really cool. Speaking of Forge mode, will Forge mode return? Forge is back in Halo Infinite. This time, Forge is being mainly developed by co-developer Skybox Labs, the studio behind Halo 5's PC map making tool Halo 5 Forge. Skybox also handled the Xbox One X enhancements for Halo 5, so it's clear they know their way around a Master Chief. With every new iteration of Forge, its capabilities grow enormously. From what we can tell, Halo Infinite will be no exception. With regards to a rumored Battle Royale mode, director Frank O'Connor said it's not included in Infinite, but you can probably make your own Battle Royale mode in Forge even right now. And I think that that's another way that you could see the community put a BR together. Will Halo Infinite have microtransactions? Halo Infinite might have microtransactions, but it won't have loot boxes. A job listing for an online experience design director included in the list of responsibilities overseeing design and implementation of things like microtransactions. It's not clear what for Halo's microtransactions will take, but 343's Chris Lee confirmed it wouldn't include loot boxes. And then, guys, there probably, I would assume there will be a beta at some point or another. Halo Infinite remains on track, even though with everything going on with the pandemic. Look, at the end of the day, guys, I am excited about this game. Probably, you know, I'm just glad Halo's coming back. Let's put it that way. I'm really glad that it's coming back. It needs to exist with other games in the genre. It's a staple in gaming. It's one of Xbox's biggest IPs. Now, I think it's kind of, you know, it's lost some of that prestige over the years because of, you know, with Halo 5 and then the years that have gone on where the esports scene has been, I mean, it's been a joke at this point. I mean, and it's really been unfortunate. Gears of War has kind of stepped it up somewhat, but for Xbox at least, you need Gears and Halo. You need both of those up there. And now with Fable, that reboot coming, you got those big three exclusives for Xbox. It could be absolutely huge for Xbox moving forward. And so they really got to rally around those titles and kind of push us into this next generation of console and games as well. But what do you guys think? What do you think about Halo Infinite and everything that we know at this point in time? What are you guys most excited about? What are you guys skeptical about? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Halo Infinite content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.